Hey, check up. Let's play some D.
Welcome to episode 36 of Play Some D. And this is that New Year installment of Play Some D. And yeah, we're back. This is New Year 2022. Big vid for 36. A little bit of changes here. You see some different, yeah, but that was a mixture of the wanting to change up a little bit and just some unfortunate events, life events that happened that I didn't get to do. I don't think I did any videos in December, but that's okay. There's a hopefully not going, but hopefully there's more vids next December. So yeah, with let's this is the new. Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of excited here to get to a new video. So I got topics. Play Some D is still formatted the same. We're doing 4 quarters, 4 topics with possibility of overtime, and I'm just too juiced up to say that it's not gonna be overtime because it is gonna be overtime because I missed 4 weeks, so we gotta talk about some stuff, right? So with that being said, first quarter is going to be Spider-Man. Let's just get that completely out the way. First quarter will be Spider-Man, and we'll also talk about best comedians, which I was just kind of interested in. Just some reason it just kind of showed up on my radar a little bit. Just kind of talk about the best comedians. New Year, talk about the New Year history. I like to do that for whatever reason. Just whatever reason. I just like that. Um, what else we got? We have New Year's comedians, college football playoffs. We got that. And overtime, I want to talk about an embarrassing, well, not embarrassing to me, but embarrassing to some people, obviously. But talk about butts, the anus. And I ran across an article of the evolution and just just all kind of stuff with that. So man, let's get this rolling. And I'm juiced up. I'm thinking and talking, which I always do, but it's just fresh and I haven't been here for weeks, months. So yeah, pop them quotas up there. Or is it there, folds up when we get there. Uh and let's jump into let's tip this baby off with Spider-Man No Way From Home. Really good movie. Solid film. I I don't know. My expectations were that it would be good. I mean, the multiverse it, by allowing Marvel to maneuver the multiverse in, it changes the game because now they can do almost whatever they want with whatever characters they want, and they're everlasting, ever changing. It allows for different people to play different roles in different universes, and it's a unlimited thing now, and the movies are good, and they because it's superhero. You can attack so many different plots, so many different things. You can keep them bland and boring and straight action. You can put a message in them. You can do love stories, no love stories, evil, hate. You could tackle all kind of different social issues if you want, and economics, money. Like it's so much different things that Marvel can do now that door has been blasted wide open. So I I mean I'm sure everybody that's probably if I mean most Spider-Man people that would care about Spider-Man probably seen it, and if you're watching this and you interested and haven't seen Spider-Man, you probably don't care about spoilers anyway. But the other Spider-Mans coming in changed it. I thought it changed the game a lot. It especially having the villains that came back, and you just knew that one Spider-Man couldn't beat him. And with the three Spider-Mans, it was, you would figure it would still be tough, and you didn't know the different dynamics of how the villains would maybe help each other or not help each other or change or turn heel. And it just kept you going with that. And then Doctor Strange, he was essentially the multiverse madness. I mean, his trailer is out if you Marvel fans are interested in that. He's essentially the time guy right now. I mean, Loki and Kang and I don't know why I can't think of that acronym for the time T whatever time variant TV whatever, those guys. But as the movies go, Doctor Strange pretty much he does the time stuff. I mean, currently, so that was a cool dynamic. It wasn't that much. I mean, dialogue and whether it gets awards and things of that nature. I don't know. I wouldn't say all of that. Would I be mad if it got awards or got nominated? No, I wouldn't. But it wasn't much dialogue in it. There's always the funny quips that happen, but besides that, you don't get anything truly impressive. A best kiss that wasn't a best kiss. The kiss at the end. So some stuff just if it gets there, it gets there. But the movie how it plays out, I think it's like 240 or something like that. I don't remember exactly the time bill on it. Two 228 is what it shows. But I guess if you watch, I don't know if that I never really pay attention if that actually counts the credits or not. But it flows right through. It gets some rocky parts, but it flows right through. The records, I mean, it's the second biggest domestic opening with a 260, which I had mentioned. I did a video way back on movie theaters. I'm almost sure if my memory recollects right. And I figured, if it's movies people want to see, they're gonna go out and see them. I mean, in movie theaters, with the different things of going on, people are gonna go watch movies. People are gonna do things that they can escape for a little bit. That's just how that's gonna go. It's also the uh, third largest global debut, 287 behind Endgame's 1.2 billion. That is just crazy. And Infinity War 640 million, and that's without China, um, which I think they leave out China because one of those films or some of them aren't getting. I don't know. China's weird, so yeah. But the numbers are huge, and I don't like to. I think universally with the Marvel movies, I think you take numbers out, big or little, because people the fan base is huge, and the bigger the characters like a Spider-Man or Iron Man or Black Panther or whoever, some people would just they're fans for that character, so they're gonna go out and see it regardless, which is totally fair. The ending, I watched some different things where I didn't know the whole situation with Toby being the last one to sign on, and they weren't sure they would be able to get Jamie Foxx, the Lizard, and all those guys to come back for the movie. So I watched a couple different like alternate endings and what they would be. Well, I actually didn't see the endings, but the some people, obviously these people got so much insider information that they were aware of what the movie might have been. And I think if the movie was not this, I mean, I wouldn't say it would have been bad, but I think it would have been a downer. I think it would have been a letdown for another character that I forgot what the guy said, who it was, but for another character that I don't think many people even really, a villain that people even really care too much about. So to see, especially especially with a time now where people want to be reminiscing on some old feels and good times, it was the perfect time to bring back old Spider-Man, old characters that we all knew, loved, liked, enjoyed, and see them together in a film that made sense. It wasn't just goofy and just trying to throw something at it. I think it was the perfect time for it to happen. I think that's what makes a movie that much more enjoyable for sure. But the ending, I guess they just want to leave it open ended for whether Tom comes back and just whoever comes back. You can see how they can pick up with him there and everybody else, or you can see how it can easily transform into whether it's Miles Morales or it's another neighborhood Spider-Man, and then there's a Venom post credits where the symbiote leaves a little bit behind in that universe, which was super cool how they plugged that in from the Venom, because I did a review on Venom that I enjoyed. Let There Be Carnage. Some people absolutely hated it, but I thought it played its purpose and then transitioned it perfectly into this universe, or this Spider-Man universe with them together. I think will be totally cool, because I don't know how much people can expect a Tom Hardy to play Venom, but maybe he keeps it rolling. I think everybody gets burnt out of the Marvel characters, just like Robert Downey did with Iron Man. I'm sure Tom Holland's probably over Spider-Man. I'm sure he probably cool with doing. I think he signed on for one more Sony film, but it may not be a Spider-Man. I just don't know if he wants to do another 3 rounds or even 2 rounds of the Spider-Man character anymore. Some people just, you get over it. You want to do other stuff, especially when you're a big star and you want to do more. You don't want to be swamped up with a Spidey suit and flipping and jumping all over the thing. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Good movie. Big records. What more do you expect? Spider-Man. All right, quarter number 2 is the college football playoff. Now, how do I want to approach this? So, upon recording this video, all the games have not been played. No, so Alabama, Cincinnati, Georgia, Michigan. I would have bet whatever on Alabama to smush Cincinnati. That has happened. Not smush, but beat. Covered, would have won money. Georgia, the same. That game is not complete yet, as of me recording this video. So Georgia, Alabama, they played already. Alabama beat them. What happens next time? Coaches adjust, players adjust, people will be ready to play. I think it'll be an excellent game for the national championship. Hypothetically, if it's Alabama and Michigan, I don't know. That would mean Michigan played a really good game and they're rolling. They beat Ohio State. I mean, they would be in Georgia and not have to be Alabama. Now that would be a heck of a run to pull that feat off. But if they happen to beat Georgia, then I think that would be a good game too, because that means what I think that Georgia isn't, and Michigan's a little bit for Michigan, or Michigan's a little bit better than that, which would make it maybe even better game. Michigan runs the ball too, so that's you can run the ball. That's always a game changer in football. Besides that, with the whole stretching out the playoff this year, it wouldn't have been. 6 teams were given Michigan and Alabama a bye. I think Notre Dame slides in. I think Ohio State would have slid in. maybe it would have been all right. 8 teams, definitely not. 8 teams, definitely not. It would have just been kind of watered down. I think 6 teams this year, you can argue. Like I said, Notre Dame, Ohio State's solid squad, and them. But now those teams would have been playing. Is that right? 3 games. So then 2 winners, yeah, and then the 2 winners would have played the 2 winners. Then you had to play 3 games to win. It'd be similar to the NFL. And for most of those players, their goal is to get to the NFL, where you probably have to play 3 games, at least 3, minimum 3, because it's that championship, then Super Bowl. Yeah, so if a wild card is 4. I'm just going through that in my head, but yeah, most of those players, if they're going to play in a national championship, they're probably have hopes of playing in a Super Bowl at some point, or playing in the NFL, playing in the playoffs. You got to play more than just a couple games, or 1 or 2 games, or 2 games. It's at least 2 games for the college football playoff. But yeah, I think Alabama's the best team. It's cool to see Cincinnati in there to get a chance to fight and play. That's what everybody wanted to see. They deserve to be in there, deserving and competing in a competitive sport. I think it's just a difference, deserving. I don't know. It's just a tightrope with that whole conversation, but I'm glad they got in. Would I have rather seen Alabama and Ohio State? Absolutely not. Notre Dame, because Notre Dame's been blasted. I think the last 3 or 4 times they've been in I think 3. Let me not say 4. I think 3. 2 or 3 times they've been in there. We don't watch that again. But let us in Alabama and Ohio State. I mean, poof, wouldn't we all? Even though we just saw it, but they whooped out Ohio State last year. But rather send that than Cincinnati and Michigan and Georgia. We'll take that. Or just not Ohio State, but just somebody from a power conference that would have gave Alabama a little bit more of a fight. Nobody just didn't think Cincinnati was going to give them a fight. It would have, they need some turnovers, some lucky rolls, and I think that's the same thing with Michigan. I think Michigan's going to be outmatched, and Georgia and Alabama, SEC rules, baby. They rule. Halftime. Now, eventually, halftime will be good, but we still haven't got there yet. New Year history. So, yeah, we know most New Year's history, boom, boom, boom. But the earliest festivities date back 4,000 years, ancient Babylon. Didn't know that. Actually thought it would have been more years, but makes sense. This was an interesting tidbit that you read here. This is from the history. This is where I normally go. I think, there's other places, but history for history. I'll go with them until they, do me wrong. Did you know or realign Roman calendar with the sun? Julius Caesar added 90 extra days in the year 46 BC and introduced the Julian calendar. That's interesting, because he want to align it based on things. And it says civilizations, sophistication with the cameras, agriculture and astronomical events. They began with the annual flood each year. First day of Chinese New Year, second moon after winter solstice. So, just the different things that they did to figure out when New Year's happened was just interesting. Like the early Roman calendar, 10 months, is less than, the 365. So some people were saying some people were older, and so you get that type of stuff going. And then just the traditions. In Spain, grapes. It's just cool seeing and reading about this stuff every year. And as I mentioned, with all the stuff that I do go through in the videos, in this one in particular, I'm just scanning through here. I'm not gonna dwell on it like I normally do, but it's always interesting every single year because I think if you go through every single year and just appreciate and read and learn about some of the things that different countries, different cultures do, I just think it's cool just to know. You just don't stay wrapped up in your little tight little bubble that you do and things of that nature. You know, the whole the most iconic New Year's tradition is the ball in Times Square. I really want to do that one year. I thought this would be the year to do it. Um, it's gonna be packed, and I think they're limiting it. People are gonna try to bogart that for sure. I would be shocked if people don't make a valid attempt to bogart the heebie-jeebies out of Times Square. Actually, that's the article. There's not much. I mean, there's stuff, but there's not much that really dwells on where some things really go. Um, and it it kind of talks about here with Julius Caesar and how he introduced everything, and with a lot of other different stuff. You know, a lot of the Roman stuff is what we kind of go off of, but uh, New Year is the New Year is just such a cool time for everybody. It always brings out that hope and that them aspirations and goals and for some people that it feels like it gives them a fresh start. I'm not mad at that at all. For me, I never take it like that. I try to go a day at a time. Yeah, I know the calendar changes and what you got to write on checks. Some people still have to use checks to pay rent. Or write, I shouldn't say checks. Write on anything. I mean, if you write a date on anything, I mean, if you update your resume or if you not update your resume, I'm sorry, you do some kind of letter or if you put dates on cards. I'm grasping for straws here. But yeah, if you put a date on something, yes, you do have to change it to 2022 is what I was getting to. So that's real. But as far as like the resolutions, never did that type of stuff. I have goals in life that we want to complete, and they don't change or start over or things of that nature. I'm always in the gym, so getting back in the gym on New Day after New Year's is not me. Speaking of that, it's probably gonna be crazy in there tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna try to get there early. Last few years I've been asleep before midnight my time. But I've also had some really great New Year's. I've been in clubs. I've been in Vegas. I've been with family. I've done it all, and you just want to enjoy the moment for whatever it is for you. Whether you're just chilling at the house by yourself and just watching TV, or you're with a bunch of people. I think New Year is a good day. Like I said, I'm not gonna go back to any of my other videos. I talked about Halloween. I believe I want to talk about Christmas. Didn't talk about Christmas. Hopefully next year. Talk about Thanksgiving. I think Halloween is I think that's the most favorite holiday for adults. I do think Thanksgiving is probably the best holiday, just in terms of what you do. You don't have to buy gifts. You don't. There's no pressure. We gotta eat. Everybody want to eat. Get together, hang out, talk, watch some football. It's just it's a very easy day once it happens. I mean, preparing for it, cooking the food, cleaning the house, that sucks. But the day of, I think it's a good day. But New Year's, I think it's solid. But it really only, the day is normal until about, I don't know, 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Then that's when things get kind of like, ooh, and the ball drops, and it's like, oh, Happy New Year, and it's like. So is it really a holiday? Is New Year's Eve or New Year's holiday? Yeah, sure. Either or, both, or whatever day you get off, that's cool. But it's really only a couple hours and really just a moment where it's celebrated, to be honest. So you know. All right, so that's third quarter, little New Year's history, and my little rant on New Year's. Number foes up, man. What am I talking about? I ain't been here in so long. I'm just pausing and fourth. Foes up is fourth quarter, baby. We're talking about the best comedians. Jiminy Crickets, man. This list, I just pulled up one. There's a bunch of different ones. They all kind of say a bit of the same thing, but this is from Wealthy Gorilla, the funniest stand-up comedians of all times. Looks like Emma Walling does this. Best, funniest. See, things get weird when you start talking about the best of rap actors, best comedians, the best anything. There's always those little caveats. So, like, funniest or best, because some people may say Kevin Hart was the best. I think Kevin Hart's like the all-time highest selling comedian or made the most money from doing stand-ups. I believe it's probably him and Dave. And either way, I know they're both way up there because Dave just made a bunch of money recently. When you talk about the numbers and then the fanfare behind it, if you base it on that, then Kevin Hart then goes really high up, top 5 easily, maybe top 2, maybe top 3. But I just don't think he's that of the funniest. He has some funny, I want to say particularly one, probably 2 stand-ups that were really funny. The other ones are just kind of good entertainment, but not necessarily that funny. But he's a very good entertainer and stand-up entertainer. But funniest, best, interchangeable, and I'm not just going into that now. So I'm just going to go funniest. I'm familiar with everybody on the list, and I'll just scroll through it. Bernie at 24. I mean, the original Kings of Comedy, just that set alone moves him way up higher than 24 to me. Red Fox, I've never seen him do stand-up, but just the comedian. Wait, this was comedians, isn't it? Stand-up. Yeah, stand-up comedian. This is what I was looking for. Stand-up is really the key term that I was looking for. I've never seen Red Fox do stand-up, but I've seen some. I've seen clips, and when I was younger, I would kind of watch, but he was vulgar, and my peoples would turn him off, so I couldn't totally watch. Funny dude Norm was is funny dude. Jim Carrey stand up, same thing. I've seen just a ton of Jim Carrey, but not much stand up. Bill Cosby too. Like all these guys. I mean, I don't know who Bill Hicks is, and I actually don't know who Stephen Wright is. But Ricky's good. Louis Black's good. This guy's funny. Jim's funny, but see, I would put I think Jim Carrey is funnier than Jim, but that's stand up. So Jim is big in the stand up world. Jim Carrey not so much. I'm saying Jim, just 2 Jims here, right? There goes Kevin Hart at 13. I said, in general, I would bump him down a little bit. I don't know who Mitch Hedberg is. Rodney would go higher for me. Bill Burr, I think 10 makes a lot of sense. Steve Martin at 9. Jerry at 8. CK. All of these I would not at all argue with any of these. These 2 and Robin. And then for me personally, who's not on here is Cat Williams. And that's probably because of his numbers. But Cat Williams would go 5. I would actually 4. I would put all 3 of these I think are interchangeable. I think the masses, I feel like most people would put Richard Pryor as number 1. That's seen Richard Pryor and George Carlin. If people that seen both of them or all 3 of these guys, I think Richard Pryor would go first. But I do think Cat Williams should be around here somewhere. That's my opinion on the comedians. And I said some people that would bump up out, Bernie would be in my teens. Red Fox would probably be up in maybe 19 or something. Bill Cosby would probably be 15 or something. Then you could have rearranged some of these other guys, but Kevin Hart would drop down, so that he would probably fill in some of those guys that I said from the top here. But I just thought it was interesting that a lot of lists that I've seen just didn't put Money Mike on at all. So I thought that was interesting that he didn't fall into. I think I looked at 4 or 5 different lists, and I don't think I've seen them. I mean, if you go to like hundreds, like the top hundreds and things of that nature, they fall in. But yeah, that's comedians. And I said that's how I would. This article is. I wasn't going to go through keep swapping through different windows, tabs, and things of that nature. So Eddie at 5 is cool. Chris Rock at 6. I would probably put CK above Chris Rock. Probably Jerry Seinfeld above Chris Rock too. I think Chris is funny though. I think Chris makes sense at 8. Eddie could be bumped a little bit too. I think his stuff was good, but I think I don't know. I just think these aren't right. I guess I think Money Mike, call him Money Mike. Cat Williams, I've been wanting to say that this whole time, by the way. Money Mike. Cat Williams should fall in here because he's done some stand-ups and they're always funny, especially when we talk about funniest. Best, that's why when you say best, that's when it gets, to me, I think it just gets a little weird when you say best. So that's that for fourth quarter. And as I mentioned, I have OT. OT. OT's a wild one. Wild one. And you can't really see that I put it in brown, but it's butts. Specifically, the anus. The anus. The bodies in this article's. This is an Atlantic article from earlier this year by Catherine Wu. The most embarrassing organ is the evolutionary mark. So basically, I ran across a Vox article that there was like 11 different things that we don't know how it came to be, and the anus was one of them. And I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy, because I just automatically assumed that it was just some creatures just had it and some creatures didn't. But it looks like, from most scientists' study, that it was always one thing, and that's like the sea cucumbers is everything. So, it's a makeshift mouth, lungs, tool. It's a hiding place. It's a weapon. But it's like you say when doesn't get the recognition deserved, but the moment you say that, it's like, well, that's not exactly what it is, but that is what it is, because it does a bunch of different things. So that's one of the interesting things about this article, and I just wanted to pull this one up. There's more. There's a bunch more you can go and look at, but this is the Atlantic one. And it was one part where this person, that the mouth preceded it, and it began to evolve, I guess. When and how that happened is just they're still amassing support for their hypothesis here, so it's like it's all not necessarily there or a thing to know exactly, but obviously we know we got 2 things. Yeah, but I just thought this was so funny. I just wanted to talk about it super briefly, as far as like getting into exactly what I think. I have no idea. I never even thought about it. I said it was just one of those things you take for granted, and then you see an article, you're like, oh my God, super interesting. That's exactly how it was. So it's saying like, but but he said already some arguing against the whole splitting idea is that animals don't generally express the same genes around, their mouth, a knock that the notion that the two openings are cut from the same developmental cloth, which they're, probably not. And they talk about the body kind of making its way into forcing a new hole out. It's in here to talk about worms do it all the time, and things of that nature. A cursory glance at the animal tree of life might at first suggest the opening appeared about 550 million years ago, around the time our own blob-like sensors straightened out into tubes. But when you think of 550 million years ago, you kind of like, yo, D, why even bring this up? Why even mention this? Because there's life then, There's, you could just say, throw this out the window. Yeah, it's not a cup of tea, but to me, it's like there was life. You got to get something in. You got to get it out. Whether it's a tiny organism or a big one, it's just fascinating to me. It really, really is. It is, man. It is. But episode 36. Happy New Year. I was out for a while. Once again, unfortunate things. But getting stronger and better from those things, and I'll plan to be regularly scheduled programming. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. But this week was interesting. We talk about some butts. Oh, look, it's better when you see with my hand on it. You can see it better. Funniest / best comedians, type of deal. Little New Year history, just my thoughts on the day. Like to do that time to time. Do a little research, get your history down on the holidays. You kind of want to see what other cultures do, and let's just show some appreciation, just some understanding. Where you're just not wrapped up in your whole little scene. College football playoff, 4 teams. Just wanted to throw a little sports in here, just dangle a little sports in here. Wanted to get my predictions out. Alabama, Georgia. Alabama winning again. And Spiderman, No Way From Home, a really good escape movie. It came out right before Christmas, I want to say. I think it came out right before Christmas, the 20th, I want to say, or something like that. It was a perfect timing. I mean, it was right on time. I felt like most people probably feel that way too. So, solid flick. And I'm gonna get to digging for the next 4 quarters for next week. You know what I'm saying? So once again, Happy New Year. Stay safe out there. And as always, until the next one, I holla.